everyone, and welcome to NameHero. I'm Ryan, the founder and CEO. Today I want to talk about the best reseller hosting package for 2020. So 2020 is actually a big year for us here at NameHero because it makes our 5th year in business. And so as we get ready to celebrate our 5th birthday, I also want to provide a video out there of what you need to be looking for as we're entering the new year, and you might be deciding that you're going to either upgrade your current reseller hosting package, or maybe you're going to buy a new one or get started for your first time. So I kind of want to show you what we offer here at NameHero, and I'm going to compare us to a couple other companies out there so you kind of know what to look for and the questions to ask, and then also go into some of the resources that we provide resellers at NameHero. And regardless of your decision, that's up to you. Only you can decide which hosting plan or reseller package fits you and your business, but I hope this video will help make that decision a lot easier. So really quick, when I started NameHero back in 2015, one of our main targets was resellers. What we found, and what I'll show here in just a little bit, is a lot of the big name hosting companies out there seem to have abandoned the resellers out there. Resellers buy an allotment of space and bandwidth, and they subsell that or sublease it to their customers. So that way, if you're a website developer, designer, a WordPress developer, or a plugin owner, or just have a business that's related to computers or technology in any instance, you can offer your clients an ability to have their website online and make recurring revenue from them. So specifically, WordPress developers and agencies have really flocked to the industry here in the last several years because they're looking for ways to make an additional revenue stream from their customers, but also ways to where they can offer a quality hosting product. If you've ever had web hosting before, I'm sure you might be familiar. If you've been around for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years like myself, you might have seen several things from the hosting industry. And it seems like that some companies are really good, and then they end up getting bought out, and customer support kind of goes down, but the prices go up and downtime comes about, and so the reliability goes down, but again the price still goes up. And so that's why one of our missions that we are trying to solve here at NameHero is to create a refreshing hosting experience of not only a premium, high available, secure and scalable infrastructure, but also having the customer support and service that matches that. And part of that is here on YouTube, me doing the training so you know how to better use your reseller account. And I put this training on YouTube and make it free for everyone because I don't want to just force people into NameHero. I want you to be able to make your decision, and if our resources help you, then great. That's my goal here, is to be of service, to help you in your business, regardless of what decision you make. So in this video, I'm going to try to be as non-biased as possible, but obviously I am the founder and CEO of NameHero, so I do have a little bias, but again, I'm going to leave it up to you at the end of the video, to make your own decision on who you believe is the best provider for you and your business. So really quick, I'm on the main page of NameHero, and today I'm going to talk about our reseller hosting, so I'm going to head over here. Now, we have plenty of resellers that also, utilize our VPSs and our cloud dedicateds for reseller hosting, but today I'm specifically talking about our reseller hosting packages. These provide the most affordable and easy way to get your reseller business started. And even if you already have a current reseller business, these provide the easiest way to move it over. These are on shared nodes, which means they've already been set up and configured, and they have all the features that your customers are going to need, or really could want, including the Lightspeed web server, complimentary WHMCS on the Gold, Platinum, and Diamond, as well as free and automatic SSL. And all of our services here at NameHero are based on our high-speed cloud. So we do not own a traditional dedicated server at NameHero. Everything is on the cloud, meaning that we're able to scale resources on demand. And so this brings a great level of performance as well as reliability, since we're not relying on any single server to power the network here at NameHero. So that's kind of us at a high level. But let's kind of look at each one of the packages that we offer here at NameHero, and then we're going to kind of visit some of the competition out there, the other companies, and I'm going to just go through their offerings and kind of compare. So we have 4 different packages. Now, we just recently made updates, and regardless if you're, you might be watching this video and new to NameHero, or maybe you've followed us for quite some time. So if you follow us from quite some time, then you are going to notice there's 4 packages now instead of 3, but 3 of the 4 include a complimentary WHMCS license. So let's start with that first. WHMCS. It's a billing and automation piece of software that allows you to set up your hosting website, the website you send your customers to. It allows them to sign up right then and there with your business, pay you, have their account set up. It sends them all the emails and logins and all that. And it also handles the monthly or yearly billing. So you don't have to worry about, sending out invoices, setting up accounts. It really takes most of the legwork out of it. And if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, which I hope you are, I've got tons of videos on how to set up and install WHMCS. And I'm not going to do that in this video. In this video, we're going to primarily be talking about packages and features and then comparing to some other people out there. But WHMCS is a wonderful piece of software. And if you go to their website to buy it, it starts at $15.95 a month for the starter license. And that comes free with the gold, platinum, and diamond at NameHero. So go ahead and knock off $15.95 of each one of these prices because that's automatically what you're saving by going with one of these three. And they have different license tiers. So the starter license allows you to have 250 customers, and it has a powered by WHMCS link. If you want to remove that link, you can get the WHMCS Plus license, which is 250 customers without their branded link. And we provide this at NameHero for about $5 a month with our current discount. So if you want to upgrade that and remove that link, of course you can, and you're still going to be saving a good bit. I think on WHMCS's website, it's about $18.95 a month. So, you're going to get that for $5 a month with our packages here. So you are going to save there as well if that's an option. But most of our resellers, they like to use WHMCS because it just takes the legwork out of it. I know we still have some old school resellers out there that like to, manually set up their sites, and a lot of them already have billing software, so they don't want to add an additional piece of software. But so it's really up to you. And if you are a designer, a developer, and you don't have a good billing software, WHMCS is good for not only hosting. You can bill your design clients, or if you're doing updates or social media management, you can use that to bill it for it as well. So it's not just for hosting. You can bill other products and services. So make sure that you check that out. And again, in our YouTube channel, we have plenty of examples as well. Okay, so with that said, these four packages, the main difference between the silver and then gold, platinum, and diamond is WHMCS. It comes free with three, and then the silver it does not. But then also the space is different. So on all of our packages, as I mentioned, they have Lightspeed web server. So Lightspeed is a drop-in replacement to Apache. So if you've ever had hosting before, chances are, especially with cPanel and Web Host Manager, it's used Apache. Lightspeed drops in and replaces Apache, and it's known to be up to 20 times faster. So it's a premium web server. And some of the other hosts out there, which we're going to talk about today, they also offer Lightspeed, but it's as an add-on. So you have to pay extra. So you see their prices, but then you get to the checkout and you add all these options and the price goes up even more. At NameHero, it's included with all the packages, regardless of which one you select. Our United States data center is where all of our reseller packages are deployed by default. Most of our customers at NameHero are either in the United States, Canada, Mexico, in North America. But our customers, our international audience over the last 5 years has grown quite a bit. So we just recently implemented our Netherlands data center. So if you're across the Atlantic Ocean, international, you might want to check out the packages there. Right now, the prices are the exact same. But what you're going to find is the closer you're located to your server, to the data center, the less latency you have. So if your customers especially, are uploading and downloading stuff, it's going to be faster in the Netherlands data center. Nowadays, with Cloudflare and Railgun and Lightspeed and technologies to load websites, there's not really a huge lag between data centers, not a huge latency. The latency mainly comes into play when you're uploading or downloading files. But of course, you can test it, test it out in a data center close to you and see what the results speak. Obviously test before you even guess. So that's kind of just a new feature that we've added, and I know we've had quite much demand for it. But if you are in North America, just go with our default data center. Okay, so now the next difference here that I highlight is the space. So this is how much files that you can actually have on your account. And so if you're selling to customers, you are allowed to have 40 gigabytes of space, 75 150, and 200 gigabytes of storage. So we allow you to oversell this. Now, for many years, overselling was kind of taboo in the web hosting industry. But nowadays with the cloud, it's a lot different. So you can use up to 40 gigabytes of the silver. So this means if you sell, 4 accounts and you allocate 10 gigabytes to each account, that doesn't mean you can only sell 4 accounts. No, you can sell up to 40 accounts with the silver, and it's not until you use all 40 gigabytes you have to get more space. So once you started to reach actual usage, then you could upgrade to the next tier. But we allow you to sell more than you have because of the cloud. You can easily scale up. Back in the early days of reseller hosting, you were deployed on an old school dedicated server with a physical set hard drive, and in order for the hosting company to add more space, they physically had to take the machine, the server offline, take it apart, and add a hard drive. With the cloud, that's not the case. Additional resources can be spun up on demand. There's no taking the hardware apart and having downtime or anything like that. So that's how the space and overselling works, and it's enabled on all of these accounts. So you can sell all the way up to 40 accounts, 60 accounts, 80 or 100, and this is actual usage of your customers. I think the average website probably uses around a gig of space. Your average WordPress website, and obviously this goes up and down depending on your customers. But the average small mom and pop business, about a gig is good. Sometimes a little bit more than that. But really, anything over than that there is some sites, but they're having many media files or many emails or whatnot. But for the average, I would say 1 gig is safe to assume. With that said, we have free, let's go to bandwidth next. So bandwidth is a limit that I often talk about on YouTube that I really feel like is kind of irrelevant nowadays. With Cloudflare, CDNs, and all that, very rarely do we see customers reach bandwidth limit. Back in the early days of the internet, a lot of sites like to host videos or images back when, bandwidth was really expensive. But nowadays, most video sites, they're going to use YouTube or Vimeo, or is it Vimeo? Vimeo or Vimeo. I think there's many video sharing sites out there to use. Really trying to use your web space to host a large video or a large audio file is kind of a waste nowadays. With cloud or SoundCloud and YouTube, there's so many other platforms to put that on. So rarely do we see people go over their bandwidth allotment, and this is the same as the disk space. You can offer your customers unlimited bandwidth. You're only billed for what's used. So like I said, very rarely do we see people even hit this small tier of 500 gigabytes, with the diamond going all the way up to 2,000 gigabytes. So very rarely do I ever see that. Do we see it? But we do have a limit because there has to be a limit in the event that you get that one customer that has something crazy going on that would consume everything. All right, next is free and automatic SSL. So nowadays, if you notice, I'm using Chrome here to view NameHero. You see this lock. And this is because we have an SSL certificate. If you don't, Chrome now shows the site is not secure. So it used to be it just wouldn't show anything here, and it would just show the lock if you had it. Well, now if you don't have SSL, it physically says not secure. So your customers are going to hate that. If you go and visit a website and it's telling you it's not secure, why in God's green earth would you give them your credit card or put your name and email in? You most likely wouldn't. So you're going to lose visitors without SSL. So we have free and unlimited SSL for all customers at NameHero, meaning your customers. So if you're reselling to your customers, they don't have to go out and purchase an SSL certificate for $70 a year or $20 a year. It just automatically will install, and it goes on all their subdomains and all the domains they add. So that's a huge benefit. And we started offering this in 2016 in partnership with Let's Encrypt. And we've had a lot of success with that. It used to be SSL was a huge upsell, really. Customers wanted to buy it because they needed it. But nowadays, with it kind of being the new standard, I think it's really essential out there. It's to make the internet as a safer place altogether. So, by offering it free, do we lose an upsell? Well, yes. But also, do we gain a safer network and a safer internet? Absolutely. So, I think your customers will really love that, and that's something you should really highlight. Web Host Manager. So currently all of our reseller hosting packages come with Web Host Manager. And so this means cPanel as well. If you ever used a cPanel host before, most web hosts out there still use cPanel. And so when you create an account for your customer, they'll have access to their own cPanel, which basically allows them to do everything. They can upload their site, create email accounts, install WordPress, stage WordPress. They can do pretty much anything they need right inside of cPanel. So that comes standard on all of our reseller hosting packages. Next is the number of client accounts. So this is the number of cPanel accounts that you can deploy with your package. So the first thing that's very important to mention, and if you hover over the eye, it tells you, each of your cPanel accounts can host unlimited domains, unlimited subdomains. So this doesn't mean 40 domains or 40 websites. This means 40 client accounts. Your clients can have 5, 10, 20 websites in each account. There is no limit. Now, you as the reseller, you have the ability to limit your customers per package they buy with you. So like even at NameHero, if you look at our web hosting packages, our starter web hosting package allows for 1 website. Our Plus allows for 6. Our Turbo and Business allows for unlimited. So you can kind of set up these same type of packages with your hosting business to where you say, if you pay a certain amount, you get hosting for 1 site, and you pay more, you get hosting for more. But my main point here for our resellers is you have the ability to host unlimited inside each account. So that's up to you to determine your pricing, but that's a huge bonus right then and there that, yes, you can only create 40 cPanel accounts, but within each one, you can have a lot more websites. So that's another big differentiating factor between these accounts is 40, 60, 80, and 100. But me personally, and from my experience running NameHero for 5 years, I really feel like before you reach these 40 accounts or 60 or 80 or 100, you're going to reach the disk space. I think you're more likely to hit 75 gigabytes of usage versus 60 accounts. I feel like you're going to hit 150 gigabytes versus 80. I feel like you're going to hit 200 versus 100. So, we used to just call this unlimited, but we've now, implemented these limits on here due to some licensing changes within the industry. But, I still really wouldn't worry a whole bunch about these client accounts. It's kind of like bandwidth, really just the storage is my main focus. If, I'm looking at a reseller account, it's what I'm looking at. Okay, so with those features, the free WHMCS starter is with the Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Let's talk about some unique features at NameHero. And this is our Reseller Toolkit, our Security Shield, and as well as we call them our superhero features. So our Reseller Toolkit, one, this is a free and automatic SSL. As soon as your customers are signed up on your reseller, the DNS propagates, they can install SSL automatically and free. They don't have to do anything. It just installs for them. So that's a huge time saver. It's a huge savings in time and a huge savings in money. One-click WordPress installs and staging. So WordPress, if you're watching this video, you've probably heard of WordPress. If you haven't, Google it really quick, because if you're doing reseller hosting, you're going to need it. Most websites, I would say, the last report I read was WordPress powers something like 30% of the internet, but I think it's even more than that, realistically. Even big sites like CNN, they use WordPress. WordPress, it started out as a self-hosted blogging platform, open source, but nowadays it's a content management system. It's creating e-commerce websites. It's creating, full-fledged company websites, not just blogs. It's powering almost any type of site out there. So your customers most likely are going to want WordPress hosting. With our Reseller Toolkit, you have the ability for them to install it with one click. They just go to cPanel, install WordPress, enter their username and password, and they're set. There's no downloading software, setting permissions, or editing configuration files or anything like that. But also, they can create a staging environment for WordPress. And this is something that's gotten really popular in the last 5 years, really in the last 2 or 3. As WordPress becomes more popular and websites are using it, those that want to make changes to their site don't want to make live edits. For instance, if I'm working on NameHero and I want to change the design or change the prices, I wouldn't want to go making the changes right now and uploading them as I make them, because it'd be confusing, or they might even break the site. I could take down a page or mess it up. So staging allows your customers the ability to copy their existing site as it is on their site to another directory or a subdomain, or even another domain if they want, and then they can go over there and make their edits and changes, all while being able to view them in their browser, but the visitors don't see it. So the visitors just see the site as it is, while the webmaster makes their edits and tweaks the site the way they want it. Once they're finished those changes, they can click deploy, and they'll deploy those out to the live site. So it's a seamless integration to make the updates, change the design, and then push it back out to the live site. So that's a huge feature that your customers will love, because many hosts out there, they charge extra for that type of stuff. And that's standard in our toolkit. Auto WordPress updates, that's kind of the same thing with the installs and staging, is that it will update, if they choose, you'll automatically update WordPress, their plugins, and their themes for them. I know some customers out there, once their site's online and they don't edit it very often, WordPress goes out of date, and so they don't have to worry about logging in and updating it. So the automatic updater just takes care of that for them. And of course, you can disable that, but it is important to keep WordPress up to date for the best security defense. Domain reseller account. So just like we sell domains at NameHero, just like Godaddy sells domains, we will create you a free domain reseller account. So you can offer your customers domains, and these domains are at a discounted rate. So it's much less than you would pay if you just went to NameHero and started registering domains for your customers. You actually pay less. That way you can charge your customers a fee that's competitive for them to register their name and make a profit. And that's free on all of the reseller accounts. Private name servers, this allows you to completely white label all of our reseller hosting packages. This way they never see NameHero. Private name servers are what connects their domain to their hosting. So if their domain's at like GoDaddy and their hosting's through you, they would update their name servers at GoDaddy to your private name servers. And I just recently, actually just last night, I published a video on our YouTube channel about private name servers, more about what they are and how to set them up. So again, that's another huge advantage to working with us here at NameHero, is you have those private white label servers. Custom branding, from everything from setting up the way your order form looks to the cpanel control panel, you can brand everything 100% white label to your company. They never see NameHero, and they never see anything else, but your company. Set your own pricing. You charge what you want to charge. It's your business. It's your customers. So we don't tell you, what you can and can't charge for a package. That's completely up to you. We give you the space, we give you the resources, and then you divide it up as you best see fit. Some customers will pay more, some will pay less. Kind of depends on who your target audience is. So that's all our reseller toolkit, and that's across all the packages. You have all those features. Security Shield. So this is our security product, and we have many vendors we work with. One specifically is called Immunify 360, owned by the same folks over at Cloud Linux. It's a great product. It helps keeps all your websites secure, including your customers. And we also have many other vendors, but as a whole, it makes up these features. Advanced Firewall. So this means that all your sites, all your customer sites, run behind this advanced firewall. That it actually uses artificial intelligence to learn new threats as they come about. The internet's not static, it's dynamic. A threat that comes about tomorrow, did not exist today. So that means, technology of today is going to be outdated tomorrow when that new threat comes. The advanced firewall learns. It learns along with, as these threats come out, to help keep you and your customers safe. Intrusion detection and protection. It's kind of hard to say. So customers, that use WordPress especially, there's bad guys and gals out there that like to try to get in. They try to hack your WordPress login or hack your cpanel or hack your email. We have real-time intrusion detection and protection, which basically we're out there looking for it. If our software sees suspicious logins, it takes a number of measures to stop that and to stop brute force attacks, to block out those malicious users, and that's automatic. There's no installing a plugin or configuring anything. It's just going to happen. Real-time malware detection. So along with our security shield, anytime your customer's uploading files or maybe FTPing or uploading to the browser, our real-time malware detector is scanning those. So if they have malware, it's going to detect it and quarantine it versus sending it to the web space. So it's going to help keep the account safe. Proactive defense, this is more than just security, is more than just reactive. It's also proactive. This goes into what I said about, what works today doesn't work tomorrow. We're proactively implementing all these measures to protect the site from DDoS, from brute force, from malware attacks. We're proactively working. It's learning in real time to continue to keep things safe. Reputation management. If you've ever had a site flagged for malware from Google or McAfee or a virus scanner, you know how big of a pain in the butt that is. And your visitors or customers' visitors go to their site and it says, deceptive site ahead. So we actually monitor sites for that. So if you have a problem, you know about it, and then we can help you determine, what that issue is. Is it a false positive, or is there some malware or something bad along your site that's been uploaded that maybe you're not aware about? Auto application patching. This is not to be confused with auto updating. This takes applications, and not all of your applications, but we're implementing more and more, such as WordPress, certain plugins, Joomla, Drupal. It's often your customers will sometimes have a version or two old. They haven't updated for a version or two because they're waiting on their developer to finish the theme or a new plugin, and that means they're running an older version of their CMS or plugin. Well, a lot of times these have security holes in them. So our automatic patching actually installs the known security holes. It patches those to keep out the evildoers, to kind of buying them more time to upgrade. Me personally, there's no substitute for not updating your applications, your themes, and all that. But the auto application patching does buy you some time and helps keep your website and your customer's website safe and secure. Finally, our superhero features, the free Lightspeed web server. I've already mentioned that, to drop in replacement to Apache up to 20 times faster. But we also allow for their Lightspeed caching plugin. If you use WordPress, it's known to be the fastest WordPress caching plugin out in the market today. And there's plenty of blogs and YouTubes and speed tests out there on Google. But it makes sense because it's a plugin that works right with the web server. A lot of WordPress caching plugins, they're developed by developers, but the developers didn't develop the web server, so Apache or even Lightspeed. So, they're using stuff that, they've examined the server to develop their plugin, but Lightspeed actually has their own caching plugin. So those developers are the ones that actually made the web server. So it's kind of closely tied into it. And the results and performance aspects that I've seen are breathtaking. Comparison of with the Lightspeed cache on, or versus off versus on. It's amazing to watch how fast it can speed up sites. So, make sure you're using that on your WordPress sites. Make sure your customers are using it, and make sure you're using that in your sales strategy. Let your customers know that they can use that Lightspeed caching plugin, because it really does speed up sites. Solid state drives with RAID 10. Some hosts out there still use old school SATA drives. SATA drive's a larger hard drive, and actually I've got one over here. So this is a SATA drive. It's it's got a lot of moving pieces. The thing about these are, they're really cheap nowadays. 1 or 2 terabytes is really cheap in comparison to like an SSD drive. Actually, this is not an SSD. Here's an SSD right here. So this is an SSD drive here, and it's a lot smaller and doesn't have those moving pieces inside it. So it's known for reliability. It doesn't fail as often, but also the read writes are a lot faster. So when you're making edits to your site, or even when people are visiting your site, the server responds faster because it can read write the data quicker. So that's free and complimentary on all of our accounts, and it's protected by RAID 10, which is software to where the one SSD mirrors another SSD. So in the rare event that it would fail, that one of the drives would fail, the other SSD drive will kind of pick up the pace. Your data is still stored and safe and secure, so it allows for more redundancy and reliability. So this is something we do different at NameHero, and when I review some other companies here, some companies have it, some don't. Some still use SATA. Most people, if they don't say they use SSD, by default are using a cheaper disk drive. So if you're comparing packages, make sure to get very specific and, what kind of hard disk are you using? What's your web server? What kind of dynamic caching or caching plugins can I use? Because a lot of times if they don't offer it, they don't put it on their sales page, and then after you sign up, you might realize, well, it doesn't have, or, I assumed it did have this, but it doesn't. So make sure you're, asking those questions. Web host or Cloudflare with Railgun. Cloudflare, it's most likely you're familiar with them. They're the world's largest content delivery network and security, one of the security tools out there that allow your customers protection against threats, against DDoS, against scraping, all kinds of things, as well as accelerating their site. So Cloudflare makes sites load faster. And Cloudflare does have a free package on their website. Your customers can go sign up. But with our reseller hosting packages, all Cloudflare is built in, so your customer can enable right inside a cPanel. They don't have to go into Cloudflare and set it up. They don't have to change their name servers. They can use your reseller name servers and use Cloudflare. So it's a lot easier for your customers to set it up. They get the whole benefit of Cloudflare without having to go change their name servers and do the complicated setup at cloudflare.com. Additionally, we provide access to their Railgun. Their Railgun, and you can Google it, what is a Cloudflare Railgun? And on YouTube, we have videos about it as well. Railgun accelerates the delivery of assets on a website to visitors that are closest to them. So for example, if I'm on NameHero and I have Cloudflare enabled, what it does when I pull up NameHero on my computer, it pulls the resources of NameHero's website from a Cloudflare data center closest to me. So I'm in Kansas City, so if I pull up NameHero, while our data center for NameHero is in Lansing, Michigan, I'll actually load the resources, the images, the CSS, the JavaScript from the data center of Cloudflare's in Kansas City. So it's a lot faster. It cuts back that latency. It's known to speed up websites up to 200%. So with Lightspeed Web Server, Lightspeed Cache, and Cloudflare's Railgun, you kind of have the whole trifecta there to really speeding up your site. And at NameHero, that's what we're known for is our high-speed web hosting, and that's just another piece of it. It's kind of like the cherry on top. To get Cloudflare's Railgun, you actually have to, if you want to just go to Cloudflare and get it, you have to have their business package, which is $200 a month. So essentially, you could say you're saving $200 a month, and because you can offer this to all your customers too, free right there inside a cPanel. So that's included. Some of the other hosts out there, they offer it, but they charge an extra premium for it. It's free on all the reseller packages. Web Host Manager, cPanel, and Cloud Linux. So we talked about Web Host Manager and cPanel. Let's talk really quickly about Cloud Linux. Cloud Linux is the operating system that we use on all of our reseller nodes. Cloud Linux allows for something called CageFS, Cage File System. So this essentially, when you create a customer account, they're kind of in a cage. The whole account's in a cage. So if their account, for whatever reason, would get compromised by maybe some bad software or a malicious user, they can't spread outward to your other accounts. They can't spread outwards to the other people in the node. They're stuck in that cage. And so that's a huge security and uptime benefit. Also, Cloud Linux allows us to specify specific limits per account, which I'll talk about in a second. So not one account can take all the resources. So if you have a customer sign up and they have a post go viral on Facebook, they can't use up all your reseller resources and cause all the other sites to go down or slow down. So that's kind of a premium piece of software there. And we're seeing more reseller hosts use it nowadays than we did 5 or 10 years ago, but still some charge a premium for that as well. They also have their alt versions of PHP. So you have, in each cPanel you create, your customer can select what version of PHP they want to run. So I always suggest running the latest and greatest version of PHP, currently 7.2 or 7.3. But there's some people out there that say, well, I still don't have my site ready for 7.3. Can I still run 7.2 for a while? Well, with Cloud Linux's alt PHP, they actually update it and secure it. So yes, they can select 7.2, 7.1, 7.0, even back to 5.6, which I don't really suggest, but they can, and it's not really a security threat because it's still being updated by the folks over at Cloud Linux. So while it might be end of life with the PHP community, it's still very much active at Cloud Linux. And those are just some of the features. Cloud Linux has many more. Go to their website to read, full details, but we have some of them as well highlighted on our page here. Nightly backups. Every one of your customers' accounts will be automatically backed up by our backup servers every night automatically, and they can access these backups inside of cPanel. So if your customer accidentally deletes something, they can restore it right inside of cPanel without having to ask you or you ask us. It's just right there in cPanel, and that's complimentary for 1 day's retention. So if they need more than 1 day, then they'll have to do some additional backups. 99.9% uptime and 24/7 support. This is 99.9% server uptime. You know, a lot of other hosting companies say 99.9% uptime, and what they really mean is network uptime. You know, we never lose connectivity to the internet 99.9% of the time, but that doesn't tell you a whole lot about how much the website's going to be online. You know, so a lot of those 99.9% claims really drill down and ask, you know, what does this mean? Does it mean network uptime, server uptime, or website uptime? At NameHero, it means website uptime. You and your customer's website will be online 99.9% of the time. And I'm going to show you some data in this video to back that claim up. You know, it's one thing to say it, it's one thing for me to preach it here on YouTube, but it's a whole other thing to prove it. And so I've got real-time, real-life data from a third party that will prove that. We also have 24/7, 365 customer service and support, phone, ticket, chats. Hit us up any hour of the day. You know, I know if you're like me, you might work on your website at 2 in the morning and you might have a problem and you don't want to wait till 9 a.m. because maybe you're going to be busy at 9 to get it. So it doesn't matter when you ask or need support at NameHero, we're always here for you. So kind of those are the basic core features of us here at NameHero. As I said, I think some of the biggest things we are known for is website performance, high reliability, high uptime, feature rich, especially for resellers, you know, kind of including stuff that other companies would charge for, as well as being on our cloud infrastructure and, you know, then providing these tools and training backed by our customer service and support. You know, I always tell our team that, you know, the team at NameHero, not me, not just one or two techs, the team makes up NameHero. We can have the latest and greatest hardware, software, features, but without a team to back it up 24/7, we have nothing. And so we live by that culture every single day that, you know, NameHero's success is only as successful as our team is, and that's in serving our customers. You know, we like to take a different approach here at NameHero. Instead of being profit-centered, we're customer-centered because we know if we take care of the customer and put them first, the profits will come, revenue will come. But if we're not taking care and nurturing those relationships and earning that trust, then we have nothing here. So just keep that in mind as I move along here. So that's our basic packages. Let's talk about the pricing and then we'll go to the other companies and compare. The price you see on NameHero is our current fall special at 45% off. And so this is actually to launch our new packages. It kind of coincides with the launch of our new packages. So they're 45% off. So if you're watching this video, this is one of the best prices they're going to be all year long. So, you know, make sure that, you know, if you see this, take advantage of this. And if you're watching this video later and it's not 45%, you know, just, you know, if you stand by, we might have another sale, but that is a good rate. So with that said, these prices reflect that. Now, these are based on your first invoice. This is not a recurring discount. So that's important when I highlight the pricing here. Each month is broken down to, the pricing is per month, but these are all with a 36-month billing term or 3 years. At NameHero, we reward customers that sign up with us for a long time. You know, we want the resellers really that are all in, you know, because we find that's the really serious group of resellers. You know, they really, you know, are either really serious about starting their business or they already have a business and they're really serious about working with us. And to put it bluntly, they're not time wasters. You know, it's people that come on monthly, it's not all, but some, you know, will sign up, not quite be sure or whatnot, sign up month to month, and they'll use a bunch of resources and time, but really they're just kind of kicking the tire. You know, no plans on having a business or creating a business or sustaining a business, and so that's why we reward customers the longer they sign up. So with it 45% off, that's on that whole 3-year invoice versus just 1 month. So the longer you sign up, the more you're going to save. So if I hover over order now, you can see that each pricing term you select, the price changes. So for 3 years, I save the most at $13.72 a month. 2 years, $15.92 a month. 1 year, $16.47 a month. And 1 month, $19.22 a month. And again, that since it's a first invoice, it's just going to be that first month. So, you know, it gives you 30 days to kind of get familiar and on our platform. And then it goes to the normal rate after that of $34.95. So that's how all the pricing works at NameHero. And I hope to clear that up because I know it can be confusing for some, but I try to highlight it in a lot of the videos and have it on the page here so you know that it's first billing term. The longer you sign up, the more you're going to save. So that's on all of these, you know. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to let us know. But anytime you see a 45% special, I do encourage you to take action, because that's a good price. It's almost half off that we are offering. So we're actually, we're sacrificing a good bit to, allow you to get on board. We know that, changing hosts is stressful, or, deciding on new hosts makes you nervous. So, we're telling you right now, we're going to give you a huge discount so we can prove ourselves to you at NameHero. We do have a 30-day money-back period. So within the first 30 days of your account, you can request and get a refund. The only thing is we have an $8.95 setup fee. And so if you want your refund, then we give you all your money back except that setup fee that goes into actually setting up your account and providing that initial support. So that's in our payment policy and in our terms when you sign up, but just letting everyone know and kind of getting that out there. So with all that said, here's what we offer, here's our packages, the free Whmcs, the features, the pricing, and the money back. Let's just take a look at some other companies out there. So SiteGround is a company I hold in high regard and have a lot of respect for. They say they've got 2 million domains that are hosted with them, but they don't really provide a reseller hosting product. So they do have hosting, but they have web hosting, WordPress, WooCommerce, which basically these are mostly the same hosting products. Their reseller platform, if I go down here, let's see if I can't find it. I know they did have it offline. Yep, reseller hosting. Their reseller product basically means that you can resell their exact hosting packages, but it's not like all completely, it is white labeled to your business, but not like 100% with your own website. So it's a different type of reseller hosting account at SiteGround. It's a more of a hosted platform. We do, at NameHero, have one of those platforms coming out. So something very similar to how they do their reseller hosting, we're going to be bringing out here in very early 2020 or late 2019 at NameHero. So in addition to our current reseller hosting, we're going to have another platform similar to SiteGround's, to where we allow you to sell any of our hosting packages 100% white label to your company. So if you're comparing us to SiteGround's reseller, it's hard because we can't compare directly right now with their packages, because they're basically just allowing you to sell, their existing hosting packages. They're allowing you to resell these three. You don't actually get an allotment of space or bandwidth. You actually buy some credits to pay for these packages for your customers. And I think right now, if you click Get Started, they've got it offline anyways at this point. So a lot of people ask questions about SiteGround, so I try to highlight it. A2 Hosting, it's another company I hold in pretty high regard. I know the couple folks over there, and I have a lot of respect for what they do and what they are doing in the industry. So let's just talk about their packages here. A2's got some really aggressive pricing, about 50% off. And again, I'll save you the fine terms. These are also the first invoice. You're going to find that, and same with SiteGround, most all hosts, provide a low cost going in as an entry price, and then the next invoice after your first invoice is the regular price. And I believe that's because we all know how challenging and stressful it can be to deciding a new host and finding a new host. And so everyone wants to make it easy on the customer to switch and to get everything in order and to make it as painless as possible. So that's the same with them. They have a 51% special right now. Comparing here between their packages, it looks like much the same at NameHero. They have different storage, so 30, 75, 150, 200. So that's kind of alignment with NameHero. Bandwidth, 400 gigabytes, 600 gigabytes, 1,000 gigabytes, 200 gigabytes. So that looks kind of the same here, kind of the same off the reseller packages. Kind of the same, pretty much the same space and bandwidth option. 20 times faster turbo option. So if you're not familiar with A2, I researched this before the video. This is how they incorporate Lightspeed. They call it in their turbo option. So this is not standard in their pricing. So if you're looking for Lightspeed pricing, these aren't it. You have to add that on when you set up your account or you go to checkout. So they do have the option, but it's not standard. Whereas NameHero, Lightspeed is standard with all of our accounts. So that's kind of a big thing to keep in mind, because at first glance it looks like that we're much higher than A2, but if you look at the Lightspeed and we add it on, it certainly changes a lot. So when you're doing your research, and that's the purpose of this video, is to show you the questions to be asking. Asking A2 or HostGator or the next couple of hosts we're going to talk about. What do you mean by turbo option? Is that Lightspeed, or do you offer Lightspeed, or what's the web server? Free SSL and SSD. So this is similar to NameHero. We have SSD disk and free SSL. Web Host Manager, it's kind of the standard. Free domain reseller account. That's what Enum is, the domain reseller account. They have an anytime money back guarantee. So that's nice, the money back guarantee. They offer free WHMCS with their Ladder 3. Let's go get their full details so we can get the number of accounts you can create. And 1 second, it's taking a little bit to load. Come on. A2. So let's look. So with their bronze, you can create 40 accounts. The silver is 60, the gold's 80, and the platinum's 100. So kind of the same alignment there as far as the number of accounts you can create. Here's their option for Lightspeed. So it's $4.90 a month additional on the bronze. So it's $4.90 additional a month on each one of these. And so I'm not sure what term that is. I'm going to assume this is their 36-month term. I think that's what it is. So this would be $4.90 times 36 on top of this. So that's one way you can check there that they don't put that inside of this price. Ooh, that thing popped up. Wish I could minimize that. So kind of looking through here, they have multiple server locations, this Cloudflare CDN, HTTP2 is only with the turbo option, same with SPDY and ESI. So all of this is free at NameHero. With theirs, you have to have their turbo option. 10 gigabyte network, it's kind of similar. Cores per cPanel user. So this is an important question. So let's go back to NameHero a second. We put all the limits right here. So these are the limits that you can create for each one of your customer accounts. The CPU, that's just the brand. It's an Intel Xenon and all of our nodes. But they can have 100% of a full core on any account that you create. The disk space and bandwidth you allocate from your end. So you tell your customers how much disk and bandwidth they can have. But these limits are static, meaning they don't change. So 1 CPU core per account. 2 gigs of RAM per account, 1 gig of physical memory, 25 concurrent connections. Now this doesn't mean 25 visitors at once. Concurrent connections can process a lot more visitors than that. And entry processes is 100. So 25 concurrent connections. This all has to deal with how your customer's website is developed. If they have a lot of database calls, it's going to take up more versus if they don't have much. If they have a lot of plugins on their WordPress site versus not a lot, it's going to use more connections per visitor. But one connection can handle much more than just one visitor at a time. I/O operations per second. This is just the disk limit. And inodes is 250,000 per account. So it's the number of files in each one. All these limits are static on all the accounts you create at NameHero. If you ever need to edit these limits, we do have the option to on certain packages. Most of the time, I would say 9 out of 10 customers, we never see, these don't even come close. But we don't hide these. These are all available inside a cPanel. So your customers and you can see the usage in cPanel. And if you're encroaching on any of these, it'll let you know in there. And then you can talk to us and we can tell you how to go about changing those. But by default, they're static. But if they need to be increased, then reach out to our team. We'll let you know how you go about that. So that's what they're showing here. They have a gig of memory, 2 cores per user. So kind of, just getting kind of the nitty gritty of the accounts. So then they list, a bunch of other stuff that they have. But I think as a whole, A2 is pretty similar here about the RAID 10 storage, number of accounts. And I think the biggest thing to note here is Lightspeed is extra. So if you're comparing NameHero to A2, comparing A2 and NameHero, ask about the Lightspeed option, make sure you factor that into the price. And then just go through this page and, kind of highlight all their, specifics here and see how it compares to NameHero. And likewise, go through our page here and compare all these options. And I got tons of videos too. I'm a video person. I love producing these or filming these. So, you can go through all of this stuff here and, kind of get the specifics. But I think in a nutshell, these are the kind of core features, and then you can kind of get in the nitty gritty to make your decision. So that's A2, good company, hold them in high regard. Let's look at HostGator. So HostGator, when they got started in 2002, they were really known for resellers, and they really pioneered the reseller hosting industry to what it is today. Now, unfortunately, over the years, HostGator is one of those companies that's kind of pushed back on reselling hosting. They were acquired in 2012 by EIG, a company called Endurance. They own Bluehost as well. And Bluehost actually took away their reseller hosting and put it on to Resellers Club, which is another EIG company. HostGator, what I find is interesting is they removed reseller hosting from their top menu. So to even find the reseller hosting, you have to go down here to the bottom. So you can see companies are kind of losing their interest in reseller. What I find, and I'm assuming here, but they start to put it at the bottom. They don't feature it. So if you go to the main HostGator site, I don't think you can even find reseller hosting at the top. Yeah, you can't. It's, the reseller hosting is all the way down here at the bottom. So they kind of put it down here. So that's one thing at HostGator is different, is they've kind of pushed back on reseller. The disk drives here, you can see they don't list SSD drives. So I think it's pretty safe to assume, and from my experience, I know this, but unless they've changed something recently, they don't offer solid state drives. So, it's kind of important when you're just comparing prices and disk and bandwidth, what kind of disk, what kind of storage. Traditional SATA drives are a lot cheaper. And so, at NameHero, we could offer a lot more disk space if we offered SATA versus SSD, but we have a more, what I consider a more premium infrastructure, because we're looking to provide your customers a high level of hosting, a high speed, reliable, redundant, scalable platform. So we really invest heavy on the hardware side. So I think that's the biggest difference between us and HostGator is actual infrastructure. HostGator, since they did get started in 2002, and now they're kind of pulling back on resellers, I don't really feel like they're innovating, like they're continuing on with it. And I feel like HostGator, they still offer it in an aspect, but it's not featured at the top. Their packages, if you go back to the Internet Archive, archive.org, and look at the old HostGator site from 10 years ago, nothing's really changed. This kind of the same package, same features. You get 60 disk, you get disks, bandwidth, and you can host unlimited domains. And they just recently, maybe in the last year, added the free SSL certificates. And it's got it in here, kind of the details about that. But outside of those features, that's kind of all they really offer. If we go to compare, they've even taken away their big comparison table. Let's see, they have, where's the tech specs? Can I get those here? Yeah, see, they don't really, they do have, this is kind of generalities here, not real detailed. So, I think comparing HostGator as a whole, I don't really think you could compare HostGator's reseller hosting anymore to NameHero or even to A2 hosting. I feel like that's an area that HostGator's pulled back on. And while you still can get bulk space or bulk bandwidth, it's still really the same thing you could get back in 2005 or 8 or 2 even, not really feature rich. So if your customers just need space, they just need bandwidth, then, maybe that's a option to look at, but I just feel like they're kind of irrelevant to compare, because it's like comparing an Aston Martin to a horse carriage or a bicycle even, and it might sound really bad, but it's just not comparable. It's not in the same class. Green Geeks. Green Geeks is another company that's been around for, I think, about a decade or so, and I hold them in high regard. They've performed well in some speed tests and stuff against NameHero, so I think they're worth mentioning. So let's look. They've got, they've got 5 different reseller packages. The pricing kind of looks similar to what you see at NameHero or other places. This is interesting. They have unlimited space on all accounts, but they limit based on cPanel accounts. So it looks like to me they're giving more disk but less cPanel accounts, and kind of limiting that way. As I said in NameHeroes, I feel like you're going to run out of disk before you run out of accounts. It looks like at Green Geeks are saying you're going to run out of accounts before you run out of disk. That hurts us. So that's kind of their approach, just different ones. But it is solid state storage, and it's unlimited, but 10 cPanel accounts, essentially means you could create 10 customers on it for $19.95 with their special rate, and just comparing to NameHero, 40 customers at $13.72. So, look, how much could you charge 10 customers? How much can you charge 40 customers? And to make a profit. That's kind of how I would look at it if it was me. Because if I could charge 10 customers $5 a month, that's about $50 a month. So my cost looks like starting out's $20 a month. so that'd be about $30 profit if I had 10 customers paying $5. At NameHero, if I had 40 customers paying $5, that's $200 a month. So I'm gonna have a much higher margin at NameHero versus Green Geeks. But that is something they do that's different. They bandwidth too. They said unlimited, which I don't really disagree with the bandwidth thing at all. I'd almost say the same thing too. I think that you're going to run out of accounts or space before you're going to touch the bandwidth. So I kind of get that. So I guess if you're shopping Green Geeks, ask yourself, is it more important to you to have a lot of space per account, 10 accounts with God knows how much in them, or is it more important to you to create, more customer accounts? If you're reselling hosting, again, the average site uses about 1 gigabyte of space. So, for us at NameHero, I would say that you could safely say this is 10 gigabytes of space. You could say this is 20 gigabytes of space, or even we could double it for the heck of it. You could say this is 20 gigabytes of space. This is 40 gigabytes of space. So if you go compare to NameHero, 40, 75, 150, versus maybe 20 gigabytes of space. So kind of just another way of doing it. But again, look at it, your business, what's more important to you, more accounts, more space, or whatnot. Deployed on our platform, so they're deployed on the Green Geeks platform. WHMCS license, so it looks like they include a WHMCS license with all of their accounts, not just, select few. And I'm assuming, yes, that's their startup license, the WHMCS starter license. I think that's going to be the same with all reseller hosts. The starter license is included for WHMCS. So at a high level, that's their packages. They get into their features, wholesale, super fast. I'm just trying to look. I don't see that Cloudflare, but maybe it's on here. Or I don't see Lightspeed either. They do have HTTP2, Power Cacher. So their Pro and Premium has a caching plugin. Remember at NameHero we have the Lightspeed caching with all. Okay, Lightspeed and Maria, so they do have Lightspeed. Okay, so that's new, so they just added that. They do have SSD of RAID 10, multiple data centers, and CDN integration. It doesn't say if it's Cloudflare or not, but they do offer a CDN. So some similar features here at Green Geeks than as NameHero. Looks like they've got some overages. If you want to buy more accounts, it's It's $3 per account, $275. So if you want more accounts, you can add it on per account. And then kind of the transfer stuff, and then the fine details. So I think, as a whole, Green Geeks looks like a good company to compare to. I've heard good things. They've done well in speed tests. I personally have never used Green Geeks. And I've personally never used A2 either. I've personally used HostGator back in the day for my dad's website, and I mentioned that in a lot of my YouTube videos. And I can attest that they were good, and then they kind of got bad if they got bought out. So it's up to you to make your decisions. I'm just going off of what's shown on the front-end websites and kind of the industry reputation and what I've seen out there from YouTube affiliates and YouTube videos and all that. So I'm basing my assumptions here based on the data that I've seen. So that's why it's up to you to go out and do your homework and your research on what specifically you're looking for and what really works best for you. But I think they're a fair comparison here. Very similar to NameHero, a little bit different in the pricing, a little higher pricing. So it's up to you, kind of where it falls into your budget and what's more important to you. Godaddy. So Godaddy's probably the world's, I guess not probably, it is the most popular hosting company out there because they're publicly traded and they've been around for a long time. It looks like right here they do offer WHMCS in some capacity, but the reselling starts at $39.99. So let's take a look. So they've got their packages here. And I would have to clarify, I'm assuming here this means they give you 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM and 90 gigabytes of storage, and then you allocate this out to your customers. So, at NameHero, we give you the 1 CPU core and 2 gigabytes of RAM per account you create. It looks like to me this is like shared resources that you can resell. And so I think that's the important thing to note, that it's, you're allocating, you've got less power to allocate here at GoDaddy. And their prices are kind of heavy. I don't think GoDaddy's really known for reseller hosting, but they do provide it. So I feel like it's not a real fair comparison because it doesn't look like they really concentrate on reseller hosting, but they are the biggest. Let's talk a little more. So they have free WHMCS license, free cPanel, 250 accounts with the WHMCS, unlimited websites and database, unmetered bandwidth, 24/7 support, SSL certificate free, SSL certificate free for the life of the plan. So this says certificate, not certificates. So I would want them to explain that. If I was going to sign up for GoDaddy, I'd ask if is that one SSL cert or is that for all my customers? I think based on what I've heard from GoDaddy is the customers still have to buy their own unless they've changed that recently. So that's probably something to ask. If I go down here, it says WHMCS is powered by. They do have tech specs, one-click scalability, dedicated resources. Yeah, so you share these resources. Kind of server specs and kind of the basic comparisons, tech specs, okay, compare plans. Okay, so they've got their basic pro. So this is interesting. They've got 3 ways to resell. Their basic pro platform. This is a lot like SiteGround's reseller. They basically allow you to kind of white label GoDaddy and resell their products with your own storefront, your own site. SiteGround has this, and NameHero, we are implementing this, and it should be available very soon. So I think that's an easy way to get started, and especially if you're the type that you don't want to fool with setting up your own site, or you don't want to, you're not as hands-on, you just want another option. So they do have that, but that's not listed in their pricing on this page. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. And this is their standard reseller hosting, to where you can see it's recommended for those with 10 or more customers who want the flexibility and a single system to manage their customers, and you have your own payment server. I think that's the big thing. And they also have their API, which is for their domains only. So that's just reselling domains. So it's kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about today. All right. So yeah, that's GoDaddy, largest host in the world. But they certainly have a corporate price on them. They share these resources. So I guess, up to you to kind of evaluate it. I don't see many specific other features besides the WHMCS. I don't see Cloudflare. I'm not seeing anything about SSD drives. Is it in here? I don't see it. So I'm going to say it's probably traditional hard drives. No, storage. Hold on, here we go. Okay, yeah, so that's not, there's no SSD drives inside of that. All right, so that's GoDaddy. HostPaPa. So let's talk about them. We'll just talk about one more company. This video could go on for 5 hours talking about other companies. My thing is I don't want to say, NameHero is the host. The purpose of the video is I'm trying to help you find the best reseller hosting package for 2020. So I just want to show you other companies alongside NameHero so you know the questions to ask. So I'm not trying to, just say that this is the way. I'm saying, here's what to look out for. And so that's why I'm not going to, I could spend all day going through other companies, but my point to this is giving you knowledge and information so you can go out and see what's best for your business. So HostPaPa has been around. I'm on their reseller page here. So they've got 5 packages. It looks like they do what GoDaddy does here in terms of CPU cores, 4, 4, 8, 8, 8. So again, at NameHero, each account has its own core, has access to its own core. It looks like here they give you access to 4 cores, and then you share it amongst your accounts. So, if you start to max those out, you'd probably have to upgrade. So, if you max out the 4, you'd have to go to the gold. And same with RAM, you get 2 gigabytes of RAM to share is what it looks like. And remember, at NameHero, each account gets 2 gigabytes of RAM. So your accounts aren't, kind of fighting for the same RAM. So that's how HostPaPa does it. So it's like they give you, not only they allocate disk and bandwidth, they're allocating the cores and RAM. So it depends on, it says here you can host 20 cPanel accounts, but you might not host, it might not reach 20 because they might use up these resources first. Whereas at NameHero, we allocate these to each account you create. So, you're kind of, it looks like HostPaPa, and again, I've heard pretty good things about them, but it looks like, essentially each account's kind of fighting over these resources. So it's up to, how much usage you actually have for the reseller account. So I think that's the big difference here is they, give you an allocated CPU and RAM, whereas we assign it specifically. And I think GoDaddy does it the same. HostGator is kind of not relevant to it, and A2 does more of, each cPanel account has this much CPU. So it can be confusing shopping, reselling, hosting, especially if you're not all that new. One might think, well, this means per account, and I would say, if that was per account, it'd be a lot more than this. For 4 CPU cores and 2 gigs. With all of this in here for per account, I think this is what you get as a whole, and then your 20 accounts, you allocate it through them. So I think that's kind of what to look at. Bandwidth I think is irrelevant. They do have the SSD drives. I don't see RAID, but we'll look into the features here in a second. Free SSL. Again, I think most companies that are moving forward in 2020 with reseller hosting, they do have the free and auto SSL, because SSL is now just as important, if not more important. Well, I guess not more important, but it's as important as your domain name. You have to have SSL, because if your site shows not secure, who wants to visit it? So you're gonna have to go buy one if you don't have it for free. So I think any reseller company that's wanting to move along has that for free. Essential features. That's a lot here, so I'm just going to go through them quickly. Branded cPanel, domain reseller account, private name servers, Softaculous, dedicated IP address, kind of all the standard stuff here. See if I can see that sticks out. SSD, RAID 10, so they do have the RAID 10. Backups, intrusion protection, that's similar to NameHero. Kernel care server always on. We have kernel care as well. Okay, so I think similar features is kind of what we offer at NameHero. I think the biggest difference is how they allocate the CPU and RAM. And within their prices, it's basically they give you this allotment and then your accounts share it. Whereas at NameHero, each account you create has its own allotment. And so that way, you don't have one customer that takes all your resources. Each one is equal versus one hogging everything. So I think that's the main difference here. The essential features kind of all look similar. WHMCS is free with their gold, platinum, and titanium. So they say it's a $24.95. I wonder if they have a bigger license. I don't know. They don't have WHMCS with their bronze and silver, so they do have a license with these here. So WHMCS, again, if any company has reseller hosting, most offer that. If we go to compare, let's see. I like comparison tables. Okay, so the comparison table kind of brings us through here. And so that does look like the starter license. I'm not sure why they say it's a $24.95 value. It seems like to me, because WHMCS that's $15.95 a month. So it's that's what it is. Anyways, semantics. So Cloud Linux, you can host unlimited websites, unlimited add-on domains. See, I think multi-IP selector, IP addresses. Yeah, so I think most all the features are the same, and they really break it down. What about Lightspeed? I wonder if they offer that. They have their web server on here. See, that's something that sometimes you just forget. I even forgot. Lightspeed. I don't see it. WordPress. I don't. Performance, it'd probably be under here. I don't see Lightspeed web server, so that's probably something to ask. If you can go shop HostPaPa, ask them, what's your web server like? So that's one thing that, I don't see on there unless I missed something. So that's HostPaPa. All right, so that's NameHero's packages. That's comparing to other providers out there. And so now, after watching that, you should be equipped of saying, which one's best for me? Ryan kind of gave me some ideas I didn't think about, like, sharing the CPUs, sharing the RAM, number of cPanel accounts in correlation to disk space. Which one of these options is most special to me? Ryan mentioned Lightspeed. Some of the providers have it, some don't mention it. So what am I looking for? Am I looking for a high-speed, reliable, redundant solution, more premium hosting feature, or do I just want to offer my customers just web space and bandwidth? Like HostGator, that's pretty much all I saw there is, just plain out space and bandwidth. Am I looking for features? Am I looking for what? So now you should have enough questions to, kind of go do your research, kind of do your interviews, pretend essentially you're the CEO, you're the boss of your business. So now go out and hunt, ask specific questions. Call us up, call our team. Here's the top of our site as our number. Hit us on chat or submit us a ticket and ask your questions there if you have more, and let our team help you, kind of understand those features more that we've talked about, or, get a better idea. I do want to talk quickly about reviews, because reviews are kind of a big thing in anything nowadays. Gosh, if I'm, going to go shop or out to eat, I'm reviewing everything. I was just at Target earlier, and I was looking for a new beard trimmer, and I was sitting there Googling the reviews inside of Target, and I was about to buy one, and I got down through the reviews. Like, man, this thing sucks. I'm not going to use it, so I put it back on the shelf. It's the same thing in hosting. You want to know what the true reviews are. And so at NameHero, we put our page together here called NameHero Reviews, to where we put our mission statement, but then we link out to reviews, because we don't want to, obviously any reviews on NameHero are going to be positive, because why would we put bad reviews on our site? That makes sense. But we use a company called Shopper Approved. So you can see right here, if I click this, it's going to take me to their website, and if it ever loads, Shopper Approved, and this is a third-party vendor that we work with. And so what they do is they collect reviews from our customers, non-biased, meaning we can't edit them. So there's 1,647 reviews on here, and you can read comments. And so these are, since we work with Shopper Approved, they actually verify the order that it's legitimate. So when they're making a review, they know that they're a real customer, not just someone that left a review. So a competitor didn't come leave a 1-star review. Whoever left this review actually did pay for the service. So when you're researching it, and I didn't want to highlight each other company's reviews out there, but just check out stuff like that. Check, is it a verified authority? And if it says verified, from who? So you can go to Shopper Approved and read about them. But I also don't recommend just taking Shopper Approved for it. Don't just take their word. There's other review sites out there. So these are Shopper Approved reviews that we integrated with our page. If I go down here, we've got some more. So social media reviews, these are sites that have reviewed NameHero, like hosting.review, websiteplanet.com. This is WP Tweaks, DarylWilson.com, IncomeBully.com, and Web Hosting Talk Forum. So these link out to third parties that have reviewed NameHero and have written about us. And so we've highlighted them on our site, and you can go read what they thought. So if you look, they've reviewed the packages, the superhero features, the performance, the load time, the support, and they've written out their cons, and they cost a little expensive. Whatever. I always said I'm not the cheapest host out there. We won't be the cheapest host. We're looking for premium. But, that's important. So don't just take Shopper Approved's word for it. That's my point here. Is look on third-party sites. And, also look if they're being compensated. I can tell you for sure hosting.review was not compensated by NameHero, and we do not pay Hosting Review. I don't even think that they have an affiliate link with us. I can't see it here. I don't think they do. I don't think they have an affiliate link with us. But check that out. Some third-party bloggers are being compensated. So you can ask the reviewer, are you being compensated? And a lot of times, too, they'll list it on the review, because they're required by the Federal Trade Commission to do so. But there's some review sites on Google for some hosting companies out there, and they're ads. They're actually set up by the hosting company. So just make sure when you're looking at reviews, look for the Shopper Approved or Trustpilot. There's another one, and look for non-objective, non-biased, verified reviews. So Shopper Approved is a great way to do it. Looking at these other sites is a great way to do it. Obviously, Facebook is good. So we highlighted several of our Facebook posts. We put them on our site here, so you can read. Here's what some people were saying. If I go on down here, we've got some other ones here too. So these are collected over the years of NameHero from other sites. Now, obviously, these probably have the less power of anyone, because these were just pasted on the NameHero site, collected from other spots. So take these for what they're worth. I'm telling you they're legitimate. I'm telling you they're real. But you can do your own research. So obviously I wouldn't put a 1-star on here anyways. So support reviews. This is something we do different at NameHero that I don't see on a lot of other sites, so you might want to ask them. Each month, since really 2016, we post feedback from our support department. So every time a ticket closes, it asks our current customers to rate the text on a scale from 1 to 10 and leave comments if they wish. So you can see the rating here. If it's a 0, it means they did not rate it. They didn't click, from 1 to 10. And the comments they left. And so these are real life feedback. And I screenshot these every month and put them in here. So this is actually what customers say about the support. I think this is the support department review. This is a review of actual support that customers are getting from NameHero. So, make sure that you, ask other companies, do you provide such a feature? Do you provide your support reviews? Because I'm wondering what kind of support I'm going to get if I go with your company. So feel free to read through all those. We have quite the archive to dig through if you, want to do so. Uptime. So this is the last thing that I'm going to talk about is I mentioned 99% uptime. And so we actually publish our reports every year to show our uptime, and Host Advice actually tested us too, and they gave us their uptime award because we succeeded in their testing. I'm going to show you another page right now. This is a Pingdom report. So Pingdom's an uptime monitoring service, and this is a lot of our network here that we've made public, and specifically I made it public to show you on this video because I can't edit this page. This is on Pingdom's website, and these are actual websites that we've set up to be tested by Pingdom. So this measures website uptime, not server or network uptime. This is actual website uptime. And so you can see there's several nodes here. Now, these backup nodes are testing SSH ports. So these aren't relevant to 99% uptime because these are backup servers, and it's not uncommon for us to take those down. You can see an hour downtime, but that's not actual websites, so don't worry about those. But let's look at Aaron here. You can see that last week, all 100%. So last 7 days, 100%. The average response time is 470 milliseconds. And again, this is a sample website that it's going through. So again, it's, this is not just a server response time. It's actual response time to the Lightspeed web server. This checked every 1 minute. So this test is every 1 minute is what it checks. So uptime for the last week, 100%. So you can see all the days. Last 24 hours, 100%. Response time, you can see, has been an average of 470, and so along this curve. Response time per country. So the redder, the longer, the greener, the faster. So you can see they Pingdom test in North America, and they also test over here in Europe some. So, that's pretty good. This is a US-based server, so it's testing that the response time. So this is how fast pages load. So we actually show this, and, I'm showing you this so I'm not just BSing about our claims here. This is view all months on Aaron that's on here. Look here. So this is November to February, 100%, 100%, 100%. August. Let's go look at August. Look in here. For some reason, I'm on Google Fiber. They're being a little slow today, not Pingdom. Okay, so this is looking at it per day in August, and there was a blurb of downtime, but I don't see it. Where was it? Oh, right here. 5 minutes. So this looks like in the morning is probably a quick uptime or quick server reboot for a upgrade. But you can actually, there it is, right there. Gosh, it's hard to see in that sea of green. But this is one way, and I'm going to do more videos on this. That in NameHero, 99.9% website uptime, and you can see in this server here there was 99.99. There was a small blurb in the network, but for the most part, 100%. If I select another server, click Apollos. Let's see what Apollos is up to. It's taking a little bit to load. While that loads, you can pull up, we put some of the reports, these are actual PDFs that you can download from Pingdom, but that's before we made this page public here. So Apollos, last 7 days, 100%, you can see all up. Response time, still that average 452. So it looks like here, anything 500 or below is considered very, very good. Anything 15 seconds or above is considered very, very bad. So that's kind of on the continuum of where you need to be. But, I think this is one of the main features that separates NameHero from a lot of hosts out there is our infrastructure is built in a way to keep your website fast and online. I personally have ran online businesses for the last 2 decades, since 98. So 21 years here. And I know uptime's everything. Any minute or hour of downtime costs money, and so it's very important for me that we stay online. So that's why I'm showing you these reports right now, and I'll do some more videos on this as well. And see if I can't provide a link to this too, so you can go through and look yourself. Finally, the last thing I'll show you here is our startup blog, NameHero.com/startup, and you're going to see you have pop-ups for reseller hosting. Regardless of what happens today, I'm encouraging you on this video to go do your research, do your homework on companies. I hope I've empowered you with knowledge to ask the right questions. But regardless, make sure you check out our startup blog. We have tons of resources on reseller hosting. So like this, how much does it cost to start our web hosting business? You can see this a post that I made, and this is a 3-hour-long video that talks about how to get your first, or how I got at NameHero my first 10 customers. So I'm sharing tips and tricks on how I built NameHero with our audience out there. So this is something we do a little different at NameHero, is to educate our customers. And likewise, if YouTube, where this video is going, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, because YouTube we put a lot of content on there. So just in case you forget, so you're updated with our latest happenings, make sure you subscribe to that. But we have tons of guides and training, and I'm in the process of refilming it all, updating everything for 2020. So even regardless of where you decide to buy your hosting, I invite you to check out our training. It's free. It's all free on the site here. So regardless of if you don't even choose NameHero, I think you'll find their training beneficial. And that's something that I'm trying to do to give back. I really want to help others out there. I wish when I started in '98 I had a resource to tell me how to do stuff, because I would have saved myself years of trial and error and learning the hard way. And it's my goal to take that experience I've learned and to help you learn from it and to make things easier on you. As we enter 2020, if you're not a server guru, you're not a techie, you don't understand how to set up a server, and you don't know how to configure Apache or Lightspeed, you don't have to worry about it. We've taken all that work out of it for you. And so to really hit that home, we do that by our tutorials to show you, here's exactly how you do things with us here at NameHero. And our YouTube channel is just full of videos as well. That's going to start playing. How to white label cPanel, what are private name servers, how to offer your clients premium WordPress hosting, reseller hosting with free Whmcs and Lightspeed. So tons of videos on how to use our hosting and features that you need. So, and again, some of these aren't all specific to NameHero. I know I demonstrate through NameHero, but like private name servers, that's useful for any host out there. Branding cPanel is useful out there as well. So I think regardless of where you are, you should find some value and benefit in that. So make sure to check out our blog and our resources. I feel like they will help you regardless if you're an experienced reseller or maybe you're just trying to get started reselling hosting. So I hope this video has helped, at least give you some questions and thoughts on what you're looking for when you're buying reseller hosting. Our team is available 24/7, 365 to help with any questions you may have. If you want to reach out to me personally, YouTube, comment on the video. Go onto our blog and comment. I read all that stuff personally, and I do reply back to it. Not instantly, but I try to get to it as quickly as possible. So if you have specifics for me, start putting them on this video, and I'll come and answer them all. I encourage any feedback as well. If this video helped you out, we certainly do appreciate a thumbs up. I look at the thumbs up and the thumbs down to determine what type of videos that our audience likes. So the more thumbs up, the more type of videos I'll put out. The more thumbs down, the less of that type of video that I'll do. So, kind of subscribe and do that, use that voting system, and I promise I'll work content out, depending on what the audience wants, because I want to be as helpful as possible. I want to make things easy on you. So thanks for watching, and we really would appreciate your business at NameHero. We look forward to working with you if you so would entrust us with that. And one thing I will promise is we won't take that trust from you for granted. It's something that we will continue to strive to earn every single day. So make your own decision, though. Talk to other companies, have these conversations, and if I can help further, please do let me know. Thanks a bunch.